What if I told you that self-love isn't something you're born with, but something you build? For many, this idea feels both hopeful and overwhelming. After all, how do you create something you've never experienced? If you've spent years feeling unworthy, battling low self-esteem, or carrying the weight of childhood trauma, the concept of self-love might feel like a distant dream. But here's the truth. No matter how broken you feel, no matter how deep the wounds run, self-love is possible. And it starts with understanding that it's not your fault you've struggled. It's simply a reflection of what you've been through. You see, trauma has a way of whispering lies into your mind. It tells you that you're not enough, that you're unlovable, that you're broken beyond repair. These lies can become so loud that they drown out the truth. You are worthy of love, especially your own. But here's the catch. Self-love isn't something that magically appears overnight. It's a process, a journey, and yes, it's hard work. But the reward? A life where you feel whole, confident, and at peace with yourself. And the best part? You don't have to do it alone. With the right tools and mindset, you can begin to rewrite the narrative trauma left behind. So, how do you start? How do you build self-love when you've never experienced it before? That's exactly what we're going to explore. Together, we'll uncover the roots of your struggles, dive into the impact of childhood trauma, and discover practical steps to rebuild the love you deserve. By the end of this journey, you'll not only understand self-love, you'll feel it, ready to begin. Self-love is a concept that sounds simple on the surface, doesn't it? Yet for so many, it feels like an impossible mountain to climb. Imagine trying to nurture love for yourself when all you've ever known is criticism, neglect, or even outright harm. It's like planting seeds in barren soil and expecting a garden to bloom. But here's the thing. Self-love isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And for those who faced trauma, especially in childhood, this journey can feel like walking through a maze blindfolded. But don't worry, every maze has a way out. Many people carry a quiet ache, a nagging feeling that they're not good enough, not worthy, not lovable. This isn't just a passing thought. It's a belief rooted in years of emotional wounds. Trauma, whether it's from childhood abuse, neglect, or even subtle invalidation, leaves scars that whisper lies about your worth. These scars can make self-love feel like a foreign language, one you were never taught. But here's the truth. No matter how deep those scars run, they don't define you. Healing is possible, and it starts with understanding why self-love feels so elusive. So how do you begin to build self-love when you've never experienced it before? It starts with recognizing that the absence of self-love isn't your fault. It's not a flaw in your character. It's a reflection of the environment you grew up in. Trauma has a sneaky way of convincing you that you're broken, but you're not. You're simply carrying the weight of experiences that were never yours to bear. And the good news? You can put that weight down. But before we dive into how to rebuild, let's explore the roots of this struggle. The impact of childhood trauma. One of the most frequent frustrations people express is this: why can't I just love myself like everyone else seems to? It's a quiet, persistent question that often comes with a heavy dose of shame. You see others radiating confidence, setting boundaries, and speaking kindly to themselves, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. Self-love isn't a switch you flip. It's a skill you cultivate. And for those who've experienced trauma, it's a skill that feels almost impossible to learn without guidance. When self-love is damaged, it shows up in subtle but powerful ways. Maybe you find yourself constantly seeking validation from others, feeling like you're only as good as the approval you receive. Or perhaps you're stuck in a cycle of self-criticism, where every mistake feels like proof that you're not enough. These patterns aren't random. They're survival mechanisms you developed to navigate a world that didn't teach you how to value yourself. But survival isn't the same as thriving, and that's where the work begins. So, how do you move from this place of frustration to one of healing? It starts with acknowledging that your struggle with self-love isn't a personal failure. It's a reflection of the emotional wounds you've carried for years. The good news, those wounds can heal. But to do that, we need to dig deeper into the roots of the issue. What happens when trauma, especially in childhood, leaves its mark on your ability to love yourself? Building self-love where it never existed is like learning to walk again after years of sitting still. It's unfamiliar, uncomfortable, and often feels unnatural at first. But here's the thing. Self-love isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The first step is to recognize that love for yourself doesn't magically appear. It's something you create brick by brick. Think of it as building a home within yourself, a safe space where you can rest, heal, and grow. And like any construction project, it starts with a solid foundation. For many, the absence of self-love is tied to childhood trauma. Experiences of neglect, abuse, or invalidation that left deep emotional scars. These wounds often teach you to see yourself through a distorted lens, one that magnifies your flaws and minimizes your worth. But here's the good news: that lens isn't permanent. You can replace it with one that reflects your true value. Start small. Practice saying things to yourself that you wish someone had said to you as a child. You're enough. You deserve kindness. You are worthy of love. It might feel awkward at first, but repetition rewires the brain. The journey to self-love also involves reclaiming your right to feel. Trauma often numbs your emotions, leaving you disconnected from your own inner world. To rebuild, you need to reconnect. Allow yourself to feel anger, sadness, or even joy without judgment. Journaling can be a powerful tool here. Write a letter to your younger self, acknowledging their pain and promising them the care they deserved. This process isn't easy, but it's transformative. And as you take these steps, you'll begin to see that self-love isn't a destination, it's a journey. But what happens when trauma from childhood leaves deeper scars? Childhood trauma is a thief. It steals your sense of safety, your ability to trust, and, most painfully, your belief in your own worth. When the people who were supposed to protect you, parents, caregivers, or even trusted adults, become the source of harm, it creates a wound that runs deep. Whether it's physical abuse, emotional neglect, or even subtle invalidation. These experiences send a dangerous message: you're not enough. And that message, repeated over time, becomes a belief that shapes how you see yourself and the world around you. The emotional consequences of trauma are far-reaching. Many survivors struggle with social isolation, feeling like they don't belong or can't connect with others. Family gatherings might feel suffocating, friendships might seem shallow, and romantic relationships can become a minefield of insecurity. On top of that, there's often a lingering sense of guilt and shame, feelings that don't belong to you but were handed to you by those who caused the harm. These emotions can be paralyzing, making it hard to move forward or even imagine a life where you feel whole. One of the most insidious effects of trauma is emotional anesthesia, a numbness that disconnects you from your own feelings. It's a survival mechanism, a way to protect yourself from pain when it becomes too overwhelming. But this numbness doesn't just block out the bad, it also dulls your ability to experience joy, love, and connection. Reclaiming your emotions is a crucial step in healing, but it's not something you have to do alone. With the right tools and support, you can begin to feel again, gently, slowly, and on your own terms. But before healing can begin, we need to understand how to rebuild the self-love that trauma has taken away. Rebuilding self-love after trauma is like piecing together a shattered mirror. You may not see the full reflection right away, but every fragment you restore brings you closer to wholeness. The first step is reclaiming your right to feel. Trauma often teaches you to suppress emotions like anger, sadness, or even joy, as if they're dangerous or unwelcome. But emotions are not your enemy. They're messengers. Allow yourself to feel without judgment. For instance, if you feel sadness creeping in, instead of pushing it away, try saying, "It's okay to feel this. This is part of healing." Creating a compassionate internal dialogue is another cornerstone of rebuilding self-love. Think about how you'd comfort a friend going through a tough time. Would you criticize them or tell them to just get over it? Of course not. So why do that to yourself? Start small. Use affirmations like, "I deserve kindness," or "What happened to me wasn't my fault." These words might feel foreign at first, but over time, they can become the foundation of a more nurturing relationship with yourself. Write these affirmations down, stick them on your mirror, or repeat them before bed. It's a practice that rewires your brain for self-compassion. Finally, rebuilding self-love means giving yourself permission to accept who you are, flaws and all. This isn't about ignoring your imperfections. It's about embracing them as part of your humanity. One powerful exercise is to write a letter to your younger self, acknowledging their pain and offering them the care they deserved but never received. Tell them, "I see you, I hear you, I'm here to protect you now." This act of self-acknowledgement can be transformative. helping you reconnect with the parts of yourself that trauma tried to silence. But to truly heal, we must go deeper into the realm of the inner child, where the roots of self-love begin. Deep within every adult lies a child, a younger version of yourself who still carries the wounds of the past. This inner child is not just a metaphor. It's a part of you that holds the emotions, memories, and unmet needs from your early years. Recognizing and caring for this child is a vital step in healing. Imagine how you'd comfort a scared or hurt child who came to you for help. Would you dismiss their pain or tell them to toughen up? Of course not. You'd hold them, listen to them, and remind them they're safe. Now, it's time to do the same for yourself. One powerful exercise to connect with your inner child is to ask yourself, if I had to care for someone who went through what I did, how would I treat them? This question shifts your perspective, helping you approach yourself with more kindness and understanding. Some people find it helpful to keep a childhood photo nearby, a tangible reminder of the vulnerable, innocent person they once were. When negative self-talk creeps in, look at that photo and ask, would I say this to them? This simple act can interrupt cycles of self-criticism and replace them with self-compassion. Reparenting yourself is another essential part of the process. Think of it as becoming the parent you always needed, someone who is present, protective, and nurturing. This might look like setting boundaries to protect your emotional well-being, or creating rituals of care, like journaling or meditating. Even small acts like preparing your favorite childhood meal or taking time to play and laugh can help you reconnect with your inner child. As you begin to rebuild this relationship, you'll notice something profound. The more you care for your inner child, the more your capacity for self-love grows. But healing doesn't happen in isolation. It's often through relationships with others that we find new ways to heal and grow. Healing doesn't happen in a vacuum. Sometimes, the love and care we struggle to give ourselves can first be modeled by others. Friends, therapists, or even kind strangers can serve as mirrors, reflecting back the worth we've forgotten. Imagine a friend who listens without judgment, or a therapist who validates your pain. These moments remind you that you're deserving of kindness and connection. It's through these relationships that we begin to rewrite the narrative trauma left behind, replacing shame with acceptance and isolation with belonging. Interpersonal relationships also teach us that self-love is not a solo act. It's a relational movement. Think about it. When a close friend is struggling, you instinctively offer support, encouragement, and patience. But what if you could extend that same compassion to yourself? Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and nurture you creates a ripple effect, making it easier to internalize those positive messages. For instance, a simple compliment from a trusted friend. You're so resilient, can plant the seed of self-belief. Over time, these external affirmations can help you build an internal dialogue of self-compassion. One of the most profound lessons in healing is this: I save myself in others. It's not about relying on others to fix you, but allowing their care to remind you of your own worth. Healthy relationships act as a bridge, connecting you back to the parts of yourself that trauma tried to sever. But here's the catch: these connections are only as strong as the boundaries you set. Learning to say no, to prioritize your needs, and to seek relationships that feel safe and supportive is an act of self-love in itself. And as you strengthen these connections, you'll find that healing isn't just about you. It's about how you show up in the world. But how can you actively practice self-love in your daily life? Rebuilding self-love isn't just about understanding, it's about action. Small, intentional steps can create profound shifts over time. Start with this simple question: what small act of kindness can I do for myself today? Maybe it's taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply, journaling your thoughts, or even treating yourself to your favorite meal. These small gestures send a powerful message to your inner self: I see you, and you matter. Over time, these acts of self-care become habits, and habits become the foundation of self-love. One transformative exercise is writing a letter to your inner child. Picture yourself as a child, vulnerable and in need of comfort. In the letter, validate their pain. I know you were hurt, and it wasn't your fault. Then, offer a promise of care. I'm here now, and I'll protect you. This practice can be deeply emotional, but it's also incredibly healing. It bridges the gap between your past and present self, reminding you that it's never too late to give yourself the love you deserved all along. Another powerful activity is allowing yourself to feel without judgment. Trauma often teaches us to suppress emotions, but healing requires expression. Try this. The next time you feel sadness, anger, or even joy, sit with it. Name the emotion, acknowledge it, and let it flow. If it helps, write it down or talk to someone you trust. These moments of emotional honesty are acts of self-compassion, breaking the cycle of shame and repression. And as you practice these activities, you'll begin to notice something remarkable. Self-love isn't just something you do, it's something you become. But how do we sustain this journey over time? Resilience is the quiet strength that keeps you moving forward, even when life feels overwhelming. It's not about being unshakable, it's about learning how to bend without breaking. For those rebuilding self-love, resilience is your greatest ally. Think of it as a muscle that grows stronger with every small act of self-care. Whether it's setting boundaries, saying no to toxic relationships, or simply taking a moment to rest, these actions reinforce your ability to bounce back. Remember, resilience isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Self-care, on the other hand, is the fuel that powers resilience. It's not just bubble baths and spa days though, those are great too. It's about meeting your needs in a way that feels sustainable. For example, creating a morning routine that prioritizes your mental health, like journaling, meditating, or even just sipping coffee. Mindfully can set the tone for your day. Self-care also means listening to your body and emotions. If you're feeling drained, ask yourself, what do I need right now? Maybe it's rest, maybe it's movement, or maybe it's simply permission to feel. The journey to self-love is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires patience, time, and a willingness to take small, consistent steps. Think of it like planting a garden. You can't rush the process, but with care and attention, those seeds of self-love will grow into something beautiful. And here's the most important part. You don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with people who support your growth and remind you of your worth. Healing is a collaborative process, and every step you take is a testament to your resilience. But to truly embrace this journey, we must reflect on the role of the inner child and the hope that comes with healing. At the heart of every healing journey lies the inner child, a part of you that never stops yearning for love, safety, and acknowledgement. This child carries the echoes of your earliest experiences, both joyful and painful, and influences how you navigate the world as an adult. Recognizing their presence isn't just an act of self-awareness, it's an act of self-love. Imagine looking into the eyes of your younger self and saying, I see you, I hear you, I'm here to take care of you now. This simple acknowledgement can be the first step toward profound emotional healing. The inner child is also a guide, pointing you toward the wounds that need your attention. For example, if you notice yourself reacting strongly to rejection or criticism, it might be your inner child reminding you of past hurts. Instead of ignoring these feelings, try sitting with them. Ask yourself, what does this part of me need right now? Maybe it's reassurance, maybe it's validation, or maybe it's just a moment of stillness to process. By tending to these needs, you're not just healing old wounds, you're building a foundation of trust and care within yourself. Healing the inner child is a lifelong process, but it's one that brings immense rewards. As you nurture this part of yourself, you'll notice a ripple effect in every area of your life. Your relationships will deepen, your confidence will grow, and your ability to face challenges with resilience will strengthen. Most importantly, you'll begin to see yourself not as broken, but as whole. Someone who has faced pain and emerged stronger. And as you continue this journey, remember, healing isn't about erasing the past, it's about rewriting your story with compassion and hope. But how do you take all this knowledge and channel it into action? So here's the question, what are you waiting for? You've just uncovered the tools, the insights, and the steps to begin building self-love, even if it's something you've never felt before. But knowledge alone won't change your life. The real transformation begins when you take action. What's one small thing you can do today to show yourself kindness? Maybe it's writing that letter to your inner child, setting a boundary you've been avoiding, or simply looking in the mirror and saying, I deserve love. These small steps may feel insignificant, but they're the building blocks of something extraordinary. Think about it. What would your life look like if you truly believed you were worthy of love and care? How would your relationships change? How would you treat yourself differently? These aren't just hypothetical questions. They're invitations to imagine the life you deserve. And here's the truth. No matter how deep your wounds, no matter how long you've struggled, you have the power to rewrite your story. But it starts with a choice. The choice to show up for yourself even when it feels hard. If this journey resonates with you, don't stop here. There's so much more to learn, explore, and heal. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Let's keep growing together, one step at a time. And remember, self-love isn't just a destination. It's a practice, a promise, and a gift you give yourself every single day. So, are you ready to take the next step?